We got some other apps catching up. TikTok, we're good. Wait for people to start popping in. Did he just kick me?
No, I did. What are you doing? Do you want to introduce the show, or are you just going to sit there?
No, I'm working up to it, Bethany.
Keep
Bethany.
mumbling.
Bethany. Welcome.
Amateur over here. Amateur. All right, welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show. This is episode 139.
Sorry, I'm feeling pumped. I just had like 4 shots of espresso. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, and how delicious were they from 7-Eleven?
Horrible. Don't ever get 7-Eleven espresso shots.
Oh, right.
You know what? They do in a pinch.
I'm Bethany. This is Sparky. More importantly...
This is Sparky. I'm Jon Snow.
This is...
I'm Sparky. This is Jon Snow.
That would actually make more sense.
It would, because there's a first and last.
Yeah,
I'm like Cher.
It would make more sense.
Sparky.
All right, everyone, we're going to dive right into your questions. Just a quick reminder, you guys can ask questions by direct messaging us. On YouTube, you can just put them in the comments, and we get to as many as we can. On here, if you're live and you have some questions, just put them in the comments below, and we're going to try to get to as many as we can.
And if you hear your question being read, try to rethrow your response into the chat, because if we see it, we'll try to answer it. We like the go-between, because it feels more real.
Yes, and we want to reward you for coming to see us live.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. We're marking your behavior with positive reinforcement. Okay, I'm going to start with this one because I just think it's so good. We put a video out, or not us, our editor person, but there was a video that was put out that was about greeting other dogs on walks, and honestly, why we don't greet dogs on walks. And someone said, we made that mistake early on. No one told us not to do that at the time. We are struggling to train him now to not go bat crazy anytime he sees anyone, and that's because you've accidentally opened up the whole world to him, and so there's no control. So he's constantly seeking out validation everywhere, feeding off of his environment, right? And so just not entirely sure how to make myself more interesting to him at this point. Treats don't grab his attention when we do see a dog or person outside. He's so fixated on them. It's really frustrating. What do? He won't listen.
Oh, don't look at me. That was like the longest question ever. I remember the first part.
Throwing it to you.
Oh, no, that's all you.
It's.
I barely remember the first 10 words you said.
It's the same thing. It's the same thread. Okay. Anyway, sorry. He can read it while I start to intervene. Basically, yes, if you've accidentally developed this habit, and especially if you already have a social dog, it can be really challenging. So what you're looking for is to work your puppy more under threshold. And I'm going to talk about over threshold too, because that's life. But in order to get them to take the food, Jon Snow says, he has an opinion, are you working with your puppy inside and in the backyard and in the hallway of your condo and apartment building and in the foyer area and in front of your building, like all that stuff? Are you doing, what are you doing?
I'm trying to get her to bring up so we can read the chat when they bring in questions.
I had it up. All you had to do. Okay. Anyway, see, I lost my train of thought. So
you asked the question. Not
are
me.
you doing the turn, stop, sit food, the let's go work? Do you have that focus when there's not a lot going on in the first place? Okay. So that would be the first thing. Secondly, when you see a person, you kind of got to test out their threshold. Is the person 30 feet away? As soon as their little ears perk up, as soon as they're like, zoinks, there's a person, you're going to turn and walk until you can get your puppy's attention. Maybe they'll take food, maybe they won't. That's how you learn their threshold. And so you can't just keep going towards the distraction and expect focus. You're going to have to actually completely turn their eyesight. See, like he was focused in on a man walking by, and so that's what he was looking at out the window. So I would turn and go in the opposite direction before I expected him to take any food, okay? So just keep that in mind. You're going after those early signs of arousal where they just pique interest. Ooh, what's that? That's a leaf. Turn, stop, sit, food. Oh, there's a man. Turn, walk 10 steps. He keeps looking back, walk another 10 steps. You finally got him with you. And so you just keep working on this over and over. Stop crossing the street right away. When you see a dog, turn and do a 180, go in the opposite direction, and then cross the street. Otherwise, you're just pulling a dog that, is still eyeballing the dog across the street. So anyway, that's what you want to focus on is trying to pinpoint that under threshold. When you're over threshold, there's not much you can do. I would just do leash pressure, up, get out of there, get as much distance as you can, calm your puppy back down, the distraction passes by, and then work your puppy through whatever remaining emotional state that they're in. Isn't that right, John? No. Yes. All right.
I really want to explain what a threshold is, but I'm not going to because we promised we won't answer questions that weren't asked. But I'm really trying hard.
Threshold. Well, what, can't you just do the version? Threshold.
Threshold is basically
no. The short version. Short.
Threshold is basically a door within the brain that when it's open a crack, that's your dog looking. When it's wide open, that's your dog pulling. So working a dog below threshold means that it's just barely cracked open, and you notice the ears, all the things she mentioned,
and they'll take food.
Thank you. And they'll take food, and that's when you turn away from them.
Yeah.
You're trying to work them at that threshold where they're barely looking and not really staring yet, and then you do your turn.
Because over time, that threshold gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you work on more impulse control. But that impulse control is actually not going to come from the walk. It's going to come from, can they stop and wait at the front door? The crate, not jump up on you. Like the threshold's going to come, the impulse control training is going to come from other areas as well. Oh, thank you for giving me
the long ones.
All right, Tabitha has a follow.
That one too.
You know, you're kind of annoying today. Do you realize that?
I am very aware.
Okay. Tabitha had a follow-up question. She had the question last week that she was working with a trainer that had her squeeze the top of the muzzle for biting, which didn't make a lot of sense to us. Sometimes the bottom part.
Maybe she was talking about the roof.
And we kind of outlined that last week. All right. And so this is what she says. And I'm gonna sound a little bit harsh, and it's not for you, Tabitha. It's kind of to just give you a little bit, maybe a different way of looking at this now that you've kind of done some other things and put in some different work. Tabitha says, the biting's better, but it's still not great. I am taking it as a win. He's such a land shark. Nothing stops him other than putting her in crate. He'll go for our legs now when we stand up to walk away. Could this be overstimulation? So my short answer, and again, this is going to sound harsh, but I don't mean it to be. I just want to be clear. And I'm not even going to use you. I was just working with a woman with a 5-month-old, very, very nippy, bitey dog, and we went through everything to do, and we're sitting there, and they're practicing playstration, which at 12 weeks old, you might not even be able to do yet. Your puppy's younger than 5 months, because that is a big window of maturity. But let's say that you're just hanging out with your puppy, and your puppy has like a toy, and they're on leash. You stand up to walk away, and your puppy's supposed to go with you, because if they're out free roaming, they should be on leash. And they're going at your feet. This puppy was nipping at her, and then when she said no and did the leash pressure up, out, and away like we had worked on, the puppy just went for the leash. And now it's not going for her so much anymore. It keeps going for the leash like crazy though. It's like, oh, okay, well then I can do the leash. It's the same with your puppy going after feet. So in my head, I'm like, I'm sitting there waiting. I'm waiting for her to address this. And it's not happening. It's not happening. And then she'll kind of say no and lean in like she's about to do pressure, and the puppy will stop because it knows, and she doesn't follow through. And I was like, follow through. It keeps going after the leash. It keeps going after your feet. So I don't understand why someone is letting their dog continue to mouth the leash, continue to go after their feet. Because to me, I think it's great that you see a pattern, because you have a pattern you can focus on and work on. You know when you stand up and walk away that they're probably going to go after your feet. So you can freeze, bump into your puppy if you need to, pressure up, out, and away from you till that puppy settles. Stop and sit, food. Take 2 steps. Stop and sit, food. Take several steps. Goes after your feet again. Pressure until that puppy settles back. It doesn't have to sit, but it just needs to kind of give up a little bit. And so for me, this is an opportunity to really focus on that. You have a follow-up to it?
No, that was a lot.
Because I just went through that this morning and I saw that question. I was like, I'm going to attack it.
I think what most people assume is when you step in your dog and they back off and they settle momentarily, they're assuming the dog is settled.
Right.
I think the best example I could ever give is the I'm not touching you game, where the little kid puts his finger close to your eye but doesn't poke you, and then one day you turn in, you get poked in the eyeball. That's basically what's happening. You're moving into your dog, they're backing off, but they're not actually settling. So then when you step back, they go back for the leash, you're basically getting poked in the eye every time.
Yep.
So you need to follow through and end the game by following through as often as you can.
Yep.
So then the game ends and it's no longer fun. Dogs only do this stuff because it's fun and they think that you enjoy it.
And they're testing boundaries, or they just enjoy the game of it.
Yeah, maybe it's more them than us.
Yeah, he was being nice, but I knew he didn't really believe that.
Nice.
I knew he didn't really believe it. And I knew you did it. I was like, Sparky's so totally lying to be nice. And don't forget your food work. You gonna do one of yours?
Yeah, we'll do shorty. All right, Lisa, Maltese, 14 weeks, spends every crate nap time barking, but will nap once he's out. Okay at night in crate. You said a magic phrase, okay out. So like he's sleeping outside of the crate. So you have very possibly severe separation anxiety. Maybe it's really, really bad. Maybe it's just you got to get over that hump and it takes usually 3 or 4 days, sometimes a week or more to do it. If you are bringing him out of the crate and he's sleeping outside the crate, you're going to do something that we tell people to do when they have a lot of barking in crate and the dog has trouble settling, which is right when he comes out of the crate, you do your walk, your play, your training, your supervised separation, and the minute your dog lays down to go to sleep, they're back inside the crate. There is no sleeping
Calmly.
outside of the crate. Yeah, very calmly.
It's like trying to transfer an infant. You're like...
Yep. No sleeping outside the crate. But let's dig deeper, because most of the time it's not the fact that your dog's not sleeping in a crate and sleeping outside of it. That's not your fix, not even close to it. We have to look at relationship. We have to look at what do you do with your puppy when they come out of the crate? Are you training with them? Are they spending most of their time cuddling with you on the couch? Are you playing with them? Is it controlled play? Is it play with fetch and drop and like really good pauses in between? Because what you need to focus more on is probably less cuddling, which is creating some of that separation anxiety and then the barking in the crate. Focus more on training. You got to change the dynamic of your relationship to be more of a mutual relationship rather than him just getting affection and then barking in the crate.
And
there's not a good understanding.
And sometimes affection could be just play. Are you doing a lot of play instead of kind of focused, more controlled, low-key food work?
Will you break that down though? What makes play affection?
Well, because it's fun, it's drivey, it's energized, it causes stimulation. Petting causes stimulation, doesn't it? Yes.
He was like, finally.
And so maybe cut back on the play and do some, look up online just some slow techniques for crate patterning or place patterning for puppies.
I thought you were saying to do more play. You're saying the opposite.
If there's two, that's why you asked me to clarify.
Yeah, I was really confused.
Because there might be too much play. If play isn't really affectionate for your dog, they might be staying in a lot of drive, and then you're just putting them away, right? That could be it. I'm gonna grab a TikTok question.
Make sure too, when you guys are done with play, you're done with training, you do some supervised separation, which is putting them on the dog bed within a playpen by itself on the bed with the back tie, just so they can exist on their area, in their space without having access to you. It allows their brain to settle. So when you do eventually put them in the crate, they're more likely to settle in the crate as well.
So we had someone ask, just their puppy is just nipping like crazy. They can't seem to get him to settle. Usually some sort of structure is going to help with that. So if you have a crate or if you have an outdoor playpen or dog run, whatever it is you're using to put your dog into, that's their rest time. There should be nobody around for that. So they should be sleeping 16 to 20 hours a day, depending on the breed and age of the puppy. And I'm going to assume when you say puppy, you mean under 6 months old. That's what I'm going to assume. Every time...
Hey, Kimberly, can you say Jon Snow? I think Jon Snow's had enough of us.
Excuse me, Jon Snow. Jon Snow has bigger and better things to do.
He says
naturally. So I would really work on your schedule. Like they should get several scheduled naps a day, just like kids, just like it would be nice if I had that. And when your puppy is out of the crate, stop having him off leash. Put the puppy on leash right away, have food on you right away, start working your puppy from food from the moment they come out of crate or whatever their area is to the moment you put them away. Become more business, teacher, parent, guidance counselor, be more that than trying to have a puppy as a companion. You do that for a week or two and then come back. And if you have any follow-up questions after that, then we can work on the actual biting. Because a lot of times biting is a symptom. And going after the biting, if it's a symptom, often doesn't work. And it creates a lot more frustration in the dog. And even if it works in the moment, you'll have tons of frustration on the walk. Or then they'll just take it out on the leash and you won't be able to walk.
Biting is basically a coping mechanism for the frustration they feel. So you tackle the biting, the original problem is still there.
If you don't have the foundation.
An original problem.
Yeah, if you don't have the foundation. Right now, I would say he just thinks he can bite you. because it's been
it's fun.
It's fun. It's been allowed. And so that's where you want to focus on helping the puppy understand what to do with that energy instead before we can address it directly. I want to get to some of these questions. Lisa says, I don't cuddle with him at all. I just do active play and training. I otherwise ignore him and let him do his own thing. Is this with a crate? Was this a crate
Lisa,
question?
yeah, Lisa Hausen.
Oh, okay. Then what I would do is work on some more calm. What's the age again?
14 weeks, a baby.
Okay, a baby. Okay, so I would do a few things. I would have, at 14 weeks, you can start practicing some downtime with this puppy. And what I mean by that is, with this young of a puppy, I'd probably give a Kong or a Nylabone right away. And I'd put it on the floor. And I would have the puppy on leash. And the puppy would try to go over there, and I would just do a little leash pressure. Puppy tries to go over there, and I would do some leash pressure. I might have to pull the puppy a little bit. Puppy tries to get on me. No, and block the puppy. And then once the puppy's like, well, what in the world do I do? I'll point to the Nylabone that they're ignoring or something. And see if you can, by process of elimination, this is more of like a nature type of training, like more natural, holistic way of training, is you're taking away options without a crate, which can be very challenging, and you're helping the puppy to learn how to settle next to you. So you don't even say no. He doesn't get attention from you. I might if he jumped up on me, no. But, and you're just waiting, and then you get 1 minute of settling, or he starts to chew the Nylabone or something, good, and then you can put them in crate. So start practicing the puppy settling with you around. That can be something that's really useful. And it's not that you can't pet your puppy at all. Just know that they should be calm first. And then the way you pet your puppy should make them remain calm. So nice and slow. And then when I stop petting my puppy, they're going to invade my space again. And I'm going to teach them, no, you don't push me to get attention. I'm going to bump them off, have them relax again, and then do a little bit of crate patterning before I try to put them in crate again. So I would start to work on him being able to be calm around you, which can also help with him being calm in crate. Because right now, maybe he thinks that he should be constantly entertained. Maybe it's not emotional. Maybe he feels he needs to be constantly entertained by training and play. And so you have to teach him that, even at this early age, that he can just be in an area and not be constantly entertained by you, even though it's not affection. I don't know. Anyway, that's something I would try. That was a good follow-up, though. I'm glad you came back. It's nice when people come back and they're like, that's not what I'm doing.
I didn't give love. I want to go over this one. I like this one, actually. This is from Lulu Roses. All right. I have 11-month-old Border Collie mix. He chews up everything, and he's very hyper. He destroys my garden. What advice can you give me, please? So, destroys everything, chews up everything. 11-month-old boxer. So, you do not have a puppy anymore. You have an adolescent.
Border Collie. Border Collie, which is boxer.
Oh, yeah, Border Collie. Did I say Border Collie the first time?
Border Collie, they're way more mouth-oriented.
Yeah, she has a lot of experience because she has a Border Collie. I would say that, one, you no longer have a puppy, you have an adolescent. So you don't have to take a softer approach that we give advice to some of these other puppies.
That's true.
You're going to firm it up a little bit because you have an adult dog who needs to be treated like one. I have a question. Do you have a leash on that dog? And have you ever leashed them in the house? Are these issues relatively new? Because if they're new, or they've been there the whole time, a leash can now help you. You basically want to put a leash on your dog. You want to have more structure and more focus on them when they're out of their crate. Are you doing a crate schedule? Do they get nap time throughout the day? These are all the questions. Scheduled nap time throughout the day where they're in a crate or they're in an area that they can't remove themselves from. So you're the one putting them there, which is you're forcing the brain to settle down and go to sleep and relax. But now the dog comes out of the crate. They're on a leash. You can manage them a lot better. You show them what they're supposed to do in certain areas of the house. When I'm in my office space, my dogs are only allowed to lay on the bed. They're not allowed to roam around because we're working. When we're in the living room, they can go to their toy box, grab a toy, lay on place, and just chew a toy. And when they're in the backyard, if they're destroying my garden, they don't get any freedom to roam the backyard.
And these are older dogs.
Yes, and believe it or not, we give the same advice for younger dogs, but significantly more strict.
That's true.
I'm actually being a bit light on it because I said your dog can go to the toy box, grab a toy, you'll lay on place and hang out there.
Yeah,
but
not an 11-month-old Border Collie.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
So you just got to make sure you gear it towards what you have. Yeah. Backyard, always on leash, and you got to teach better boundaries in the backyard. I'd teach a really good recall too. I'd go in the backyard, use a long leash, practice first inside your home doing come, and then go in the backyard with a short leash and then a long leash. teach come as well for lots of food.
Yeah.
And then eventually get your dog to where they have an off switch, where they start going to the wrong area. You can recall them back in, maybe even a no and then a recall.
Yeah.
So you just want to have control over the situation.
I would say, just to give you a little quick example, I worked with one of the calmest Border Collies I've ever worked with in my life, and she would destroy their palm tree. It's a palm tree. They have spikes on the bark, and she was gnawing, destroying it around the same age. So I just want you to know that German Shepherds, herding dogs, like dogs that really use their mouth, this is a really common thing for adolescent dogs. It has nothing to do with teething anymore. And yeah, it could be he's not totally fulfilled in his Border Collie ways. It could be he doesn't have enough impulse control. But even if you were a dog trainer and you were great at all of these things, he might still destroy the garden at 11 months old when left out there alone to his own devices. That's what I'm trying to kind of, the point I'm trying to get across.
And it's not malicious. It's exploratory. Yeah. It's boredom. It's a lot of things.
And it's been allowed.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm not saying, just go for the correction right away, because that's probably not the answer. That's still only going to work when you're around. I mean, you should still work with him on the plant issue, but it's only going to work when you're around. He can't be free in your backyard. And what this family ended up doing is they just put chicken wire around their palm tree and put it into the ground, because she was fine with everything else. And it wasn't until she was about 3 years old that they took it off to see what she would do, and she was mature and she's calmer by that point. So anyway, just for a little bit more practical advice, that might help.
That happened to my dog too. She would poop in my dad's bathroom. We blocked it off for 6 months. One day it got left open. She went in there, walked out like nothing.
Like nothing.
She pretty much forgot she used to go in there because we cleaned it so well.
Yep.
Same thing for you guys too.
I'm going to grab a question off here because it's a good quick one. Marine says, 12-week-old Golden scratches at the door to go out. Pee and poop is great. No leash. I say leash. Other family members thinks no leash is fine since she's doing her business. What do you recommend? Usually I like to say that if you don't have an issue, then you don't need to do what we say. If you're super happy with the way things are going at home, sorry, we got some stuff going on out here that's a bit
like
distracting.
A dog. I see lights and I hear a siren and I'm gone.
But anyway, usually it's fine. For me though, 12 weeks, a golden retriever, they do tend to be better at potty training themselves. Retrievers are really good at holding their bladder. However, I would be a little nervous, not even of the potty training, but as he gets a little older and a little more exploratory, picking things up in the yard, swallowing things. I have a Labrador right now that swallowed 2 rocks, and they're really nervous. And he's 5 months old, and it just popped up that he started swallowing rocks in the backyard. They found 2 in his system. Luckily, it didn't have to be cut out yet. So for me, I would probably do a bit of both, sometimes on leash, sometimes not. That way, I'm still working on some impulse control, getting him used to the leash, getting him used to focusing on pottying, and then focusing on me rather than getting into things as he gets older. That would be what I'd say. Do you have another one on there you want to do?
I got a short one. All right, so this is from Mappy Girl. I only want to bring this one up because I think you may have gotten advice from someone that may not have been perfect. So
because we are always perfect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sparky, come on, perfection, right? Hi, I put my puppy in the crate when he had an accident and now he thinks he needs to pee in the crate. So I can tell you with confidence that he does not think he needs to pee in the crate because he had an accident and then you put him in the crate, but there might be some confusion as to where he goes. If he still had pee on his paws, if he still had a smell on him, and it's in the crate and the crate smells like pee, that could be a slight misunderstanding that he's having. So to make sure you're not getting potty in the crate, to make sure he knows the exact routine is anytime you need him to go potty, he's in the crate, you bring him out of the crate, you take him to the potty area. There is no confusion when you do this routine because he knows exactly when, exactly where. You take him outside to go potty, 2 to 3 minutes of standing there waiting for him. He just sniffs around, doesn't go. He can go back to his crate. And if it's a young dog, I don't have an age, but if it's a young dog who is pottying in the crate, just do about 5 minutes in the crate. 5 to 15 if you really want to push it a little bit farther and you're doing it multiple times. And then after that 5 to 15 minutes, take him back outside, give him another opportunity to potty outside. You're going to rinse and repeat this until you eventually get your potty outside. Once they give you the potty outside, wait for the final drop to fall. Good boy, good girl, whatever sex they are, and then give a treat if you need to. But that's not just it. If you're having accidents in the house and maybe you're already following a routine, maybe that's great. How much water are you giving your dog? How much exercise are they doing during their free time? And if they're moving around a lot, are you giving a second potty opportunity after? Are you looking for nonverbal cues like them playing with you and then stopping, freezing, and then going to go sniff somewhere? Are you training and they're detouring a lot and trying to pull on the leash when they don't normally? These are all the things I look for because they might be giving you signs they have to go before going back in the crate.
Yep.
Or you could just be given too much water. Standard measurement, half cup of water for every 30 pounds of body weight every 2 to 3 hours. Half cup per 30 pounds of body weight every 2 to 3 hours. It doesn't apply to every dog. There's Dalmatians and a couple other breeds out there that need free access to water because they have issues in their liver. But for most dogs, that's going to be a measurement that will help you out.
I'm wondering if there's an emotional component here because maybe you didn't punish your dog, but there are people out there that still rub their dogs' noses in it, which is a big no.
Yeah.
It's just emotional. And so sometimes with really emotionally sensitive dogs, you could just be like, ugh, and grab your dog and put them in crate. And now there's a fear factor. And they're like, oh my God, I just won't go there. Instead, I'll go in here where I feel safe. Yeah.
Comfort zone, dogs go where they're most comfortable.
Yeah, and I don't say that to make you feel bad, and maybe that's not what happened at all, but for anybody out there, it's a very human thing to do. I'm guilty of it.
Even just a loud, like, no, where you catch them doing that. Yeah. Anything you say where it's emotional can have that response.
Yeah, and so I'm totally guilty of it, but I'm just saying it could be that link too, and so just keep that in mind, and I only say that just to make sure you're patient and that it doesn't happen again. Let's jump on.
Oh, there's a long one.
Maureen says, thank you so much. You're the best. I already read that one. So
no, there's one farther up.
That I read that one.
Oh, okay.
That's the last one I did. Kimberly says, oh, hang on. Let's. Okay, yeah. Kimberly says, good afternoon. I'm getting an 11-week-old Mini Goldendoodle. My husband gets up at 4:15, leaves at 5:30.
Ooh.
Our house is open concept, so anywhere I put her crate, she'll see and hear him. I can get up and get to her and then go back to sleep. Yes, that would definitely be important. It's when your husband, even if you were in the bedroom, because you don't need your puppy out in your open concept house. Like you can put him in a bedroom and it doesn't matter where it would be. If your puppy knows you've gotten up, then you have to take them out as soon as he gets up. So he takes the puppy out or he forces you to, which doesn't make sense. Tell your husband to do it. Tell your husband Bethany said that he's supposed to do it. And any help would be greatly appreciated. I love your puppy videos. Yay! And thank you. How do I get her to go back to sleep though when someone else is moving around the house for the next hour or so? That's tricky. My husband gets up really early too, and he's like a zombie. So it doesn't really bother our puppies too much. Like usually when we get a puppy in for training, the first 2 or 3 days, he takes them out right away and puts them back up. And he's such a zombie moving around. He's not rushing or anything. And so it's usually not an issue. In the first 2 or 3 days, they figure it out. The exception was the husky puppy we just had.
Oh man, huskies.
He had to pull the husky puppy out potty and do just 5 minutes of some come, handful of food. On leash, come, handful of food. Come, okay, back in crate, shut door. And so that might be something you have to do. You'll have to see the drive and intensity of your puppy, and feel free to come back and ask us questions. We have an online school too you could check out if you're interested in something like that. You just go to thepuppyacademy.com and it should have like an online button to hit.
I also like white noise machines.
Yes,
Personally,
yes.
If I know my
Your
if
husband?
I know my significant other is gonna wake up at a certain time, stop it.
I have so many inappropriate things to say in my head, but I'm gonna keep them in.
Like Bethany, save it. You got 2 minutes, and then you can crap all over me.
They're really funny for some of you in parts of the country, but not in other parts. So I'll keep them. To
All right, let's move on. So
that was really unnecessary. I hate when you do that.
It worked out really well for Kimberly.
Poor Kimberly.
I lost my train of thought. All right,
Good.
I don't remember
It
what I was
wasn't
saying.
important anyway.
White noise machine.
White noise.
White noise. It was very important.
I have one for the baby and one for the puppies.
Yeah, that's actually amazing.
If I know that I got a significant other waking up at an earlier time, I'm just going to run a white noise machine probably all night long. It just makes it easier. Because even just running it when he wakes up, gives the dog a potty, comes back in and turns it on, that might even be too much of a disruption because that changes the dog's perception of that morning and like changes the thought process.
Yeah.
I would just put it on the night before and just have it really close to the crate and just have it not cranked up loud, but loud enough to drown out some of the noise from the main part of the house. It won't drown out the noise from the bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you same time, same place next week. My ears hurt because of you.